Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Backwoods Geek here. It's been a while since I made a video. Pretty busy with real life stuff. Got a lot going on between work and my baby just turned 1, so she's been keeping me busy. But I should have a little more free time now that my work schedule's changed. So I figure I'll make a couple more videos. This one today, I'm particularly excited about because this is a deck that I kind of ignored for a while. And then I finally got around to playing it, and I actually really liked it. And I think it could have some game into the meta depending on how it goes. I keep bouncing back and forth between a blue deck of this variety and a Hexablau variant that I also really like. Maybe I'll do a video about that pretty soon as well. But both of them have been playing pretty well into the meta. So, as you can see up on the screen here, you can probably already tell it's a blue flare deck. So I'm just going to go through this deck with you, and you can tell me what you think in the comments below. For the eggs, to start off, as you can see here, we got 4 Wanyamon. I don't think you really need more than 4 eggs, but if you wanted to run a 5th one, you can run a blue Upamon. That's probably what I would do. This Wanyamon comes out in BT-11, and what's nice about it is as long as you have blue Tamer in play, whenever you're attacking, you draw 1. And that's pretty much it. You're always going to be trying to get your Gaussmon on top of these guys to attack, get that draw, and hopefully you have a blue Tamer out so you can take advantage of it. And you'll see soon that we run more than enough blue Tamers in this deck, so you should be able to have one set up and start drawing the cards off the Wanyamon. Going into rookies, we got 4 copies of Gaussmon. This is a blue flare staple. He obviously isn't going anywhere. Just a simple on deletion ability. When you delete him, he can play a level 4 Digimon card with blue flare, and it trades from your hand suspended without paying its play cost. This is super good for this deck because actually all of our level 4s except one has an on-play ability that does something, and we'll get to all of them soon enough. He's just a 1k DP, 0 to evolve, 3 to play little rookie. His DP doesn't matter. You want him to get deleted, so run them right into security, get that check, and get that free level 4 out there. The next rookie I'm running is the new BT-11 Dracomon. It's just another rookie with blue flare in its traits, so it's on brand. But he's got a pretty interesting ability where on your turn, once per turn, when you play another Digimon card with Dramon in its name or blue flare in its traits, draw 1. What makes this cool is that we have a lot of guys that we're going to play out. Like a Decadramon is just going to get played. If we play out a Gaussmon, there's any number of things we could play from our hand. If a Greymon or Male Bergermon get played out because of a Gaussmon, and this Dracomon's on the board, we're going to be drawing a card. So that's nice there. And then he's got the added benefit of having an inheritable on him too, which means if another card is played while he's an inheritable, you gain a memory. So that free Male Bergermon that you just played from your hand might actually gain you a memory now. So that's pretty cool. And to round out my rookies, we got looks like 2 copies of Syakomon. So Syakomon is a nice little floodgate for blue. On opponent's turn, your opponent can't reduce Digi-Evolution costs. So this is actually very significant going into BT-11. Metal Greymon X, the new Greymon X and all that, reduces the play cost, or the Digi-Evolution cost going up into the Blackwell Greymon X, and he's the boogeyman of the format. So anything that can make the Blackwell Greymon player pay a little more to get up his stack is good in my book. It also affects things like Gatomon and Mastemon, and any other card that's trying to reduce its Digi-Evolution cost. Not much to say about it, just a nice solid little floodgate. So we're going to get past the rookies now, move into champions. We've got 4 copies of Greymon. This is the blue flare Greymon, obviously. It's on play. Reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add 2 cards with blue flare and their traits among them to your hand, and place the rest to the bottom of your deck. So it's an awesome searcher that is going to grab you 2 cards, usually. If you have a Kyria in play, you may return 1 Metal Greymon from your trash to your hand instead. So if you need a Metal Greymon out of your trash, he's also good for grabbing that. So if he's being played and you have all the pieces you need, you can choose to grab back Metal Greymon too. So he's a very versatile card. And on deletion, he's got save. So you don't have to worry about throwing him into security either, because you could safely tuck him underneath one of your Tamers until you need to use him again. What's really good about him is he's got a pretty great inheritable, where as long as this card has Blue Flare in its traits, and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, you can unsuspend this Digimon. So you go into Metal Greymon, this Greymon's underneath, that Metal Greymon attacks, he's now unsuspending, as long as the requirements are met. So it's just a little more added aggression. The next level 4 here that I'm going to look at is Digimon. So Digimon is a good card advantage engine for the deck. He could draw you a lot of cards depending on the board state, and he's got an extra little mini combo with the Dracomon up above. His on-play ability is to draw 1, just automatically. Then for each Digimon your opponent has in play, draw 1. So if your opponent has 2 cards in play and you have a Dracomon and you just play this Digimon, you're drawing 4 cards total. That's huge for 5 play cost. It's usually really nice to play. If you have a Memory Tamer out, you're at 3, and you don't really have a huge play yet, but you want to dig a little bit in your deck, you just toss this guy down, set your opponent to 2, and draw 4 cards. I mean, you can't beat it. His inheritable is okay. While your opponent has 2 or more Digimon in play, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP. It's not huge. It's not usually going to make a huge difference. It doesn't get you to any sort of major tipping point, so to speak, because your Metal Greymon is only 8k, and the highest DP in this deck is 11k, so getting up to 12k isn't quite enough. Usually you have that 13k plus is where you're usually, is that tipping point where you're getting over a lot of stuff that would be in security. So the plus 1000's nice. You're not going to lose to smaller things in security, but could go either way on it. What you're really playing this guy for is his on play, and you're very rarely gonna Digivolve over him. There's other ways to get him into the sources. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but other than that, he's just a good draw engine. The other level 4 here I got is Male Bergermon. This is the other half of your Greymon Wombo combo. Usually goes into Metal Greymon. He's got a really great on play, where if you have a Kyria play, you can return the Metal Greymon from your trash to your hand. Done. And then if you don't have a Kyria in play, you can play 1 Kyria from your hand without paying its play cost. So getting a Male Bergermon out off of a Gaussmon, if you don't have a Kyria, not only did that Gaussmon get you a free Male Bergermon, it also possibly gets you a free Kyria. So that's 8 memory value off of just deleting 1 little rookie. It's awesome. And he also has the on deletion save. So again, he goes right under your Tamer to be used later. His inheritable is also pretty great. Again, it's got the 2 Digimon on your opponent's side clause, but when attacking, once per turn, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. There's no amount of sources needed for it. Your opponent just needs to have 2 Digimon on the board for that to go off. So that's pretty great. The final rookie I want to talk about is kind of different. I know he doesn't really show up in lists that much, but I really have started to like him, and I'll tell you why, is Submarimon. Obviously, he evolves for 2 in Armadillomon. We're not running any Armadillomon, so it's pointless, but he does have Armor Purge, which is nice. But what's really good about him is his Wind Digivolving ability. His Wind Digivolving ability trashes the bottom Digi-Evolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon, which is great. It's on brand with what this deck wants to do. And then one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. What's interesting about this is cards that usually don't have Digi-Evolution sources tend to be Floodgates. What does Blue Flare not like? Floodgates. That Psychmon that's stopping you from playing your Metal Greymon, Submarimon takes care of them. And there's another card that comes out in BT-11 that can deal with Floodgates too, but I feel like Submarimon is the most efficient one, because you could promote a Dracomon out of raising at the Psychmon, and then just evolve into Submarimon and take him out. There's no extra hoops, no nothing. You could just do it immediately and then go on with your day. He handles it very efficiently, and then you could just attack in with him into security without caring, armor purge him away, and then you still have a Dracomon on board. So I think it's a great little mini combo within this deck. I might even go up to 3. It really depends on how I feel about another card that's a little further down in this deck. Moving on to the ultimates, we got the Metal Greymon. This is the bread and butter of the deck. Just an 8k beater, 7 cost, which we can reduce, which I'll talk about, and a 4 cost Evo. Very, very, very rarely, if ever, going to ever Digivolve this, but it can happen. He's got Material Save 2, so he could take 2 sources underneath and save them. And his on play is this Digimon gains Rush. And then he stuns 3 Digimon on the board, and they can't attack or block if they have less sources than the Metal Greymon. So normally the Metal Greymon's going to have roughly 2 sources under him, so anything with 2 sources or less is going to be able to be stunned. What makes him really great is he's got Digicross -2, Greymon, and Male Bergermon. So as long as you have a Greymon and a Male Bergermon, you're playing this Metal Greymon for 3. So as long as you have a Memory Tamer, you can hard play a level 5, keep turn, and attack with him all at once. That's wild. And depending on what sources you have underneath of him, you might even be able to, or what's already on your board, you might even be able to gain a memory. So he could essentially only cost 2. So he's just really great. You're going to want to attack into him, unsuspend, attack again. Some decks run the Red Greymon. I haven't really found that I needed it, and I found that it hurt my consistency. And I very rarely ever got the Red Greymons. I would usually either bottom deck them or something else. So it was I've cut them completely for the Samarimons because I found that I would struggle a lot more with Floodgates than getting enough security checks, because you could do so much attacking just from the rookie rush you could put out that you don't even really need the security attack plus. So the other ultimate is Decker Greymon. He's pretty nice in that he has armor purge. He's a 10 DP ultimate, which is pretty dang high for an ultimate, and he's a 9 play cost. He does have an on-player when Digivolving, so if you ever have to on-play him, you can. He has a Digicross with Metal Greymon and Decadramon. So if you have those 2 in your hand, you could play him for 5, which I think a 5 cost 10k is still absurd. It's really great. But what's really nice about him is Digivolving him on top of a Metal Greymon, because he's an added level of defense at that point to give your Metal Greymon another turn of attacks. Because when you Digivolve, he can slide Digivolve for 2. So you have Metal Greymon out, and for another 2, you can Digivolve that Greymon into a Decadramon, and you can get the When Digivolving ability, which is place a Digimon card with blue flare and its traits from your hand or from under one of your Tamers under this Digimon's bottom Digi-Evolution. Then, if Decadramon is in this Digimon's Digi-Evolution cards, one of your opponent's Digimon can't attack or block until the end of your opponent's turn. So if you've crashed into your security with Decadramon and he's been deleted, you've saved him underneath, you could take him out from underneath one of the Tamers, put him underneath Decadramon, you could get that extra ability to stun something, and you get another 1000 DP for your trouble. So now he's an 11,000 DP level 5, which will actually trade with a lot of level 6s, so that's pretty good. Decadramon's at 2, he may even bump up to 3, depending on, again, how much I'm impressed with some of the new stuff. But in my testing so far, I've liked everything as it is right now, and I feel like 2 is a pretty good number for him. So going on to the last ultimate, it's actually Metal Greymon plus Cyber Launcher. This is another Armor Purge card, which is great. It's an 8 cost play. It can Digiburst with a Metal Greymon and a Cyberdramon. I do not run any Cyberdramons in this deck. However, this Metal Greymon has a little ability at the top that says this card also counts as a Metal Greymon and a Cyberdramon. So if you have 2 of them in your hand, you can use one of them as Digicross fodder for this one. So that's pretty interesting and something to remember, because then if you have both and you Digicross them out, it's a 4 cost 8k that on play you may place, just bring it up here nice and big. On play, you may place 1 Digimon card with blue flare and its traits from your hand or under one of your Tamers at the bottom of its Digimon's Digi-Evolution cards. Then return one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. If this Digimon is Cyberdramon and its Digi-Evolution cards, return 1 level 4 lower Digimon to the bottom of its owner's deck. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it doesn't say or. So I believe if you have Cyberdramon underneath, you get both. So yeah, you automatically get the bounce to level 3, and then if you have Cyberdramon underneath, you get the bounce to level 4. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the way I've been interpreting it so far. So leave it down in the comments below if I'm playing that right or wrong. But I do like this card. It only bounces level 3 or 4, which aren't super threatening. Usually that's just like the floodgates that we want to get rid of. However, I found that Submarimon has been a little more efficient at dealing with them. So I don't know yet how much I like this card, because I feel like it's been okay so far. But there's never been a time where I've been like, wow, I'm so glad I have this over Submarimon. So out of all these cards in this deck, this one's the most likely one to get cut. But the Armor Purge is still valuable, and it's still a slide evolution on top of a Metal Greymon. So it could be very good. I'm going to keep it in for now, because I think there's just a lot of versatility in this card and where it can go. Because Digivolving it for 2 is pretty valuable. You still get the draw off the Digivolve. You still get the ability, because it's on play and with Digivolving. So being able to slide another Metal Greymon plus Cyber Launcher under there to get both effects is pretty good. So I like this card so far. Then we'll move on to the Megas. This is a new card out of BT-11, Zig Greymon. Pretty interesting card. It's got an 11 play cost. You're not really ever going to play it, and it's not a Digicross card, but it only evos for 3, which is pretty nice. When Digivolving, you can unsuspend this Digimon. Then if a card with Blue Flare or Crossheart in its traits is in this Digimon's Digi-Evolution cards, and your opponent has 2 or more Digimon to play, gain 2 memory. So what's interesting about this is, if you say you have a Decker Dramon on board, he's on top of a Metal Greymon, you swing in with that Decker Greymon, and he hits something big in security and gets deleted. You Armor Purge, he goes back to a Metal Greymon. You can then Digivolve for 2 on top of Metal Greymon, according to this card, into Zig Greymon, gaining 2 memory, and unsuspending again. So you can keep your attack going, and you've just evoed into a Mega for free. Depending on what's underneath the stack, you could be gaining a memory, you could be you could be stunning something, you could be gaining another 1000 DP, so it's a very versatile card. But what's really interesting about this card is that it also has an on-deletion where you can save this card, and then you place a Greymon and a male Birdramon from your trash under one of your Tamers. So not only are you saving the Zig Greymon, but you're also recurring 2 very valuable cards from your trash and putting them back under a Tamer to then be able to use again. And you might be wondering, what card, could you use to Digicross Zig Greymon? There's nothing bigger than him right now. And you'd be right, but there's cards that let you take cards and place them underneath, like your Decker Greymons, like the Cyber Launcher. And he gives you a very valuable inheritable, which is Blocker. And this deck, it could be a little on the slower side. So having cards that can be blockers is actually really great. And I really like this card, because before this card came out and I was playing this deck, I found myself in situations actually pretty often where I was like, man, I wish I had a blocker. All I need is 1 more turn. If I could have just blocked this attack, So now people have to waste time either removing my blocker or just not attacking if they don't have the removal. So it's a very good card. Don't see myself running 4, but definitely don't see myself running less than 3. Moving into the option cards, we've got Blazing Memory Boost. This is a staple for the Blue Flare decks. I know a lot of decks run 4, but I was running a little tight on space, and I had a lot of stuff I've been wanting to test. So I cut 1, and I haven't really regretted it. I see it all the time. I don't think I've played a game yet where I haven't seen it. And I always seem to play it at least twice. And I think that's fine. It lets you reveal the top 6 cards, and you could add 2 blue flares among them to your hand, and then you could play a Kiriha among them without paying its memory cost. Place the rest at the bottom. This is huge card advantage. As long as you can take the 2 cards, you get the free Kiriha play. So you essentially get 3 cards off of 1 memory boost. It's awesome. Not only that, you get the delay where you gain 2 memory on a on a turn after this. So, very valuable card. Good for getting all your pieces and getting another free Kiryu out there on the board. Ice Statue. This is a new card coming to BT-11, and I really like this card. It's very on brand for the deck and the source stripping it's trying to do. As long as you have a blue Tamer, it costs 1 less, so it's only a 5 cost. And you trash the top 3 Digi-Evolution cards of one of your opponent's Digimon, then return one of your opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards to its owner's hand. This is very significant because it trashes from the top. So those Blackwood Greymon stacks that have an X antibody underneath of them, it doesn't run into the X antibody, and it doesn't diminish the effectiveness of the card. You're trashing from the top, so that means you're hitting things like the Blackwood Greymon and the Metal Greymon X, which are very important to the stack functioning the way the Blackwood Greymon player wants it to function. And if it's hit in security by a Grandis player, it's taking the only source they do have, and then it's bouncing the Grandis back to hand. So the two probably biggest decks in the format are pretty well affected by this option card. Now, Blackwood Greymon has protection from in Yuya. You just gotta hope that it doesn't come about on the Yuya turn. But as long as he doesn't have Yuya protection, this card gets around Greymon X protection and all that, and it helps you get rid of some pretty problematic cards in the stack, and I really like it. In the same vein, I'm running 3 Sorai. Does the same thing, except this one trashes the top 4 Digi-Evolution cards. So if you can find a way to do these back-to-back, you can get rid of a whole stack. I mean, it's really something else. I mean, I've had times where between Soren Joe and Sorai, I've been able to get rid of all the way down to the blocker Greymon on a Blackwood Greymon stack. So it's pretty good. You trash the top 4 cards, and then until the end of your opponent's turn, the opponent's Digimon with no Digi-Evolution cards can't attack. So what's great about this is it isn't just a card that you targeted with it. It's all Digimon. So even if you didn't get that stack all the way down, or even if you did get the stack all the way down, not only is that stack stunned, but so is everything else around it. So it's just a great blanket card for shutting down a board for a turn, to keep you from getting rookie rushed down by, searchers, or like an Agumon that might be sitting out on the board, or a random Pomumon from a Grandis deck that they don't really care about. They just want to attack in with. They're not attacking because of Sorai. So it's a good option card. And now we'll just finish up with the Tamers. 4 Kiryu. It's the premier Tamer of the deck. Not much really needs to be described about it. He's your memory setter. And when you would play a Digimon card with Digicross requirements by suspending him, you can also place cards from under the Tamer as the Digi-Evolution sources when you Digicross. So he's like Taiki for cross art. You just suspend him, and you can use the Tamers that you've been storing, or the Digimon that you've been storing up as Digicross requirements to throw under your Digimon. So bread and butter, run him F4, you need to see him. And with Blackwood Greymon being about, you're going to want to see him multiple times because he's going to get popped. And then the final Tamer is Soren Joe. Soren Joe has been an MVP card in this deck. It gains you so much memory throughout the course of a game, because a lot of decks rely on searchers and finding their pieces. If that Blackwood Greymon player even plays a Searcher Agumon, he's now opening you up to gain 2 memory a turn. And then it's got the added benefit of when it attacks, when you attack with a blue Digimon, you can suspend the Tamer to trash 2 Digi-Evolution cards from the bottom of one of your opponent's Digimon. Now, this is kind of problematic against cards that run X antibody, because the X antibody can't be removed, so it'll effectively only remove 1 card at a time. But even still, that's good, because usually you're removing just another valuable inheritable that they would have wanted to keep. And you, against decks that aren't running it, you're getting rid of 2, which is awesome. So yeah, this is the deck. A few changes I might make at some point is maybe adding a Tommy, but I don't think the deck really needs it. Because I'm not running any hybrids, which I know a lot of decks do. I just haven't felt like I needed them. I'm playing a little slower game plan, and I'm just trying to control the board a little more. But I'm trying to be powerful and purposeful in my moves. So I'm just going to end the game on my terms. I haven't found the need for a hybrid yet, but I could see why I might want one, because there has been times where I just needed one more attack. But at this moment, I don't know what I would cut for one. I mean, I might be able to part with an Ice Statue and a Sorai and run 2 and 2, but as of right now, I just don't really want to get rid of them because I really like them being in the deck. But yeah, this is the deck. I've been very happy with it. It's been performing quite well. Again, I have a Hexablau variant of blue. It's nothing like this, obviously. It's running a whole different suite of cards, but it's still got the same source strip theme going on. So I will do a video about that pretty soon. But in the meantime, just look forward to it. I hope you take a look at this deck, maybe try it out at a local, and let me know how it does. If you see anything that I might have overlooked or some changes I can make, please just leave them in the comments below. And thank you for your time. Again, this has been the Backwoods Geek. Thank you for stopping by, and hope you guys have a good one.